Hey guys, welcome back. If you've scrolled psychology, TikTok, or Reddit, you've probably seen the story. Dogs get shocked, can't escape, and later just lie there even when the cage is open. Classic learned helplessness experiment from 1967 by Martin Seligman and Stephen Maier. Then you see the debunk videos. It was all wrong. Half the dogs were shelter rescues waiting for their owners to come save them. Spoiler alert, that viral debunk is almost certainly a myth. The real bombshell happened in 2016, when the same scientists rewrote the entire mechanism. And it's way more powerful and useful than the myth version. Today, we're breaking it down step by step. What actually happened in the 60s, why the shelter dog story doesn't check out, the 2016 flip, and how you can use this science to build unbreakable resilience. Let's get into it. Back in 1967, Seligman and Maier weren't just torturing dogs for fun. They were testing one very specific question. Does experiencing uncontrollability make you stop trying even when control becomes possible later? They used what's called a triadic design, 3 groups. Group 1, escapable shock. Dogs in a harness could stop the shock by pressing a panel with their nose. Group 2, yoked inescapable. Same intensity and duration of shocks, but nothing the dog did changed anything. Total lack of control. Group 3, no shock control. After that phase, all dogs went to a shuttle box. 2 compartments, low barrier in the middle. Light flashes, then shock on the floor, but you can simply jump over to the safe side. Super easy escape. What happened? Escapable dogs and control dogs learned to jump quickly, usually in just a few trials. But the inescapable group, a big chunk of them just lay down, whimpered, and took the shocks, even though jumping would have ended it immediately. It wasn't the pain itself or physical exhaustion, because the escapable group got the exact same shocks and were fine. It was the prior experience of uncontrollability that killed their motivation to act. That's the core of learned helplessness, and it became one of the most influential ideas in psychology. Now the popular debunk that's everywhere online. Later, they discovered many of the dogs were shelter dogs. They weren't helpless. They were just waiting for their owners to come rescue them. So learned helplessness doesn't exist. Here's the problem. There's zero evidence for this in the original 1967 paper, any follow-up studies, or the massive 50-year review in 2016 written by Maier and Seligman themselves. Not a single sentence about shelter dogs or waiting for owners. There is a real study from 1970 that people probably twisted into this myth. They compared 2 types of dogs, lab-raised beagles, raised in very controlled, predictable environments, versus mongrels with unknown history, basically street dogs or mixed background rescues. Result? The mongrels were much more resistant to learned helplessness. After inescapable shocks, they kept trying to escape way longer. But the reason wasn't they were waiting for their owners. It was prior experience of control in a tough life, chasing food, avoiding danger, solving problems, that immunized them against giving up. This finding actually supports the theory. Early mastery experiences protect you from helplessness later. So the shelter dogs waiting for rescue version is a romanticized misremembering, not science. Fast forward to 2016. Maier and Seligman publish Learned Helplessness at 50, Insights from Neuroscience. And they basically say, we got the mechanism backwards. Old view from the 1960s. Animal experiences uncontrollability, leads to learns. My actions don't matter, leads to actively gives up. New view. Passivity is the brain's default response to prolonged, uncontrollable stress. It happens automatically. Dorsal raphe nucleus in the brainstem floods certain areas with serotonin, triggers freeze, anxiety, shutdown mode. What you actually learn is behavioral control. When the medial prefrontal cortex detects that your actions are working, it inhibits that default serotonin response. The animal or person keeps trying, stays active, and builds long-term resilience. So the whole thing is inverted. You don't learn helplessness. You fail to learn control. And once you learn control, you can override the default passive mode. This is huge, because it turns helplessness from a permanent, learned state into something you can actively counteract with mastery experiences. So how does this apply to real life? For humans, the same biology is there. Plus, we add our explanatory style, how we explain bad events. If you go, "This is my fault, it's always going to be this way," it ruins everything. Helplessness sticks and can feed depression. If you go, "This sucks right now, but it's temporary and specific," you bounce back faster. Practical takeaway: build control where you can. Start small. Consistent workouts, finishing one task a day. Fix.